We were #2 last year in EV sales, we were #3 in hybrid, and we're the leading brand for combustion. We believe that people should be able to make a choice, as you said, Mr. President, and we will invest more in affordable vehicles. This allows us to invest in affordable vehicles made in the U.S., which we will take the lead on, and will allow us to make vehicles more affordable. So thank you for making this step for all of you.
Thank you very much. One of the other things we're doing, it's separate from this meeting, but I think everybody here would agree with it. If you go to Japan, where I just left, and if you go to South Korea and Malaysia and other countries, they have a very small car, sort of like the Beetle used to be with the Volkswagen. They're very small, they're really cute. And I said, how would that do in this country? And everyone seems to think good, but you're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the secretary to immediately approve the production of those cars. So you'll be able to buy, they really are, they're actually, some of them are really beautiful, actually. If you take a look, Honda, some of the Japanese companies do a beautiful job. But we're not allowed to make them in this country. And I think you're going to do very well with those cars. So we're going to approve those cars. Would you like to say something about that?
Well, no, just that he never stops working, so even when he's on Asian time, he's calling me at midnight in the States. But he gave me the directive to clear the regulations on this, which we have. And so if Toyota or any other company wants to make smaller, more affordable cars, fuel efficient, we have cleared the deck so they can make them in America and sell them in America.
They're really nice and less expensive. And it really gives people a chance to have a car, you know, have a brand new car as opposed to a car that maybe isn't so great. And so you car companies start thinking about that. I think it's going to be a tremendous market. Please, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great day for us at Stellantis today, because it's the day where we see CAFE regulation reconcile with real customers' demand. That's why at Stellantis we decided to invest to Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler $13 billion in the next 4 years, increasing production by 50%, delivering to the market 5 new vehicles, and creating 5,000 additional jobs. That's because we believe in what you, Secretary Duffy, and all your team is doing in this country. We believe in growth, and we are ready to invest even more. So thank you very much. Thank you very much also for this great news of the K cars, which we are very interested in, and we are very looking forward to work with Secretary Duffy, your team, in the future for the next steps. Thank you very much.
We'll get ready for those cars because we've already cleared the way. You can start right away.
We will. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Please.
Mr. President, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
We support your leadership for this issue that is so important to the auto industry. I'm here representing the hard-working men and women of Orion Assembly in Michigan.
Right.
The facility, our manufacturing facility there, is currently going through a retool so that we can build additional U.S. manufactured pickup trucks and full-size sport utilities for our customers, and we're so excited about that. And thank you for your support. Secretary Duffy, thank you as well.
And this is largely coming in because of the tariff situation. We're taking in trillions of dollars, actually, trillions, and we have so many other advantages, but these great companies are coming back to the United States. They left the United States. If somebody was sitting behind this desk that knew what they were doing, that wouldn't have happened. They would have said, well, you can sell your car here, but we're going to put 100% tariff, and you would have never had the auto industry leave. Again, we lost more than 50% of our auto industry, and now it's all coming back, and I think it's coming back. Ultimately, it's going to be bigger. I believe it's going to be bigger than it was before, actually. But it's an honor to have you here, and please, would you like to say something?
President,
thank you very much.
Tom Castriota, sir. I'm the chairman of National Automobile Dealers that represent 18,000 dealers in the country, along with 3,000 heavy-duty truck dealers. And what the actions that you've done as the president and your administration is definitely going to save our customers money. And you made your promises that let the consumer buy what they want, sir, and you delivered on that. And the other thing that you delivered was your promise in the big, beautiful bill, the tax deduction on loans that had gone away some years back. Right. And now that makes it affordable for our buyers that can save money through that loan of the tax, anywhere from several hundred to several thousand. So again, sir, on behalf of all the dealers and our customers, we appreciate what you and your administration have done, and of course our legislative support as well, Mr. President.
Thank you. That's very nice, and I'm glad you brought that up. We're allowing people to deduct. So if you go out and buy a car, and this is for middle income, but for lower income, no matter what, they never really had deductions. You know, rich people like deductions, but middle income people were never really afforded deductions, which is very unfair. You borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct the interest from your income tax. And I think that's going to be one of the most, in terms of your industry, I think it's going to be the biggest thing that we're talking about, maybe even bigger than cafe standards. People are going to be able to borrow money, deduct it, so it's going to cost them essentially half. And they'll be...
It'll help, yes, sir.
I think it's going to be a tremendous factory. They've never had a chance to do that before. And that's all done. That's all in the great, big, beautiful bill. So it's really terrific. I'd like to ask a couple of our political leaders to say, because you guys have done an amazing job. This was something that was going to be very tough. We had to fight lunatics to get it done, and they had no answers. You know, it's you just present them with the facts, and they just say, well, we're just not going to vote for it. They couldn't talk about it, but they didn't want to vote. I see Mike Kelly, my friend back there, has been with me from day one, right?
Yep.
What do you have to say, Mike?
Well, you know what? I think you hit the key. Everybody's talking about the same thing. In America,
Look at the way they like each other. Now you can see, there's no hatred between these two guys.
yeah, as long as I beat his price, we're friends. Yeah, but you hit it on the head. The American people have always been able to choose what they want to buy.
Right.
They don't want to be taken out of a market by people who, quite frankly, don't even drive their own car, and saying this is the way you've got to go going into the future. And say, well, you may say that, but you're not in the market. You have no idea. And I know the business we're in. At the end of the day, if you were there with me, I'd say, oh, so, Mr. President, other than price, what's keeping you from taking the car home today? It's always price. Yeah. And the fact that we can build a car that's affordable, that people want to buy, that's the key to it. What you've done is unlock the most ridiculous statute that ever came in with CAFE. It wasn't done by the Congress. It wasn't done. It was done by President Obama after the courts failed on it. So thank you for doing what you're doing. You're making America great again in every single way. Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be so big for the auto manufacturers. People aren't even going to believe the impact this has. You know, Mike used to come to my rallies all the time, and we'd have a rally, and it was like 0 degrees. It was freezing, everyone, and he'd sit there without a shirt on. And I didn't need that, you know. I didn't say it was pretty, but he would sit there in the cold, and he didn't mind it at all. I said, that's one tough cookie, right?
You lit it up. We didn't need any heat. You were there.
We had a good time. We had a lot of great rallies,
We
right?
did. We did.
Pennsylvania. Please, Mr. Congressman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I represent the dealer body. I'm a dealer, and we got some other dealers in here, but this is huge for the dealer body, the local car dealer. We're going to be able to sell what the customer wants. The manufacturer's going to make what the customer wants. We've got all kinds of options to the big bill. It's going to enable people, as we talked about, to deduct payments and so forth. As we say in the business, they've never been cheaper than they are today, Mr. President. And it's going to be a great opportunity for the dealer body to sell what consumers want. And 99% of the businesses in America are small businesses. Many are car dealers, employ a lot of people. It's going to be a great year for us. We appreciate your leadership. And we appreciate, from a retail standpoint, we appreciate the manufacturers going to step up and build cars that customers want and that we want to sell. So thank you very much. It makes it a great country.
He's also a very brave congressman because he was there on the baseball field that horrible day with Steve Scalise and some other people. He was hit. But he took it very well. He took it very well. You're my pal.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great job.
Appreciate you.
Great job. Appreciate it. Kevin, could you say a few words of wisdom? One of the really smart economic forecasters, I will tell you. Beyond an economist, he's a real forecaster. Please.
Sir, I think that there's a massive macroeconomic benefit to what we're doing today. And the way to think about it is that the car that has the best gas mileage that you could buy that has only gasoline is a Honda that gets about 36 miles per gallon. Joe Biden wanted to make every car on average be above 50. So there's no car made in the US that you would be able to sell 2 years from now, 3 years from now under that rule, because what he wanted to do was make everybody have an electric car, as you know. But here's the thing, that if everybody had an electric car, then nobody would be buying gasoline anymore, and they'd have to take all the miles that they travel and put it on the grid. And so we would have to increase the production of electricity in the US by 25% over the next couple of years if they had their way. And so you've really stopped a massive disruption for the economy with this. So thank you, sir.
That wasn't the main reason, and yet it certainly is a main reason. You wouldn't have been able to do it even if you wanted it. It's just so crazy. That was the mandate, which we ended. Troy, would you like to say something?
Great honor, thank you. My family is a former dealer, 48 years, Chrysler Dodge dealer. And then I got into the political world, sir.
Yeah.
I had more fun in the dealership world, but I miss it. But I still play a big role in automobiles and grateful. I remember under President Obama when the CAFE standards changed, as Mike brought up, and going through those challenging times as a Chrysler dealer before Stellantis came along. It was Daimler before you guys got it. So thank you very much for being here and making these changes. And as you said, that interest on the car loan piece was big. And I know that Bernie led the charge on that in the Senate and get it into one big, beautiful bill. That really is a big deal, and people need to understand how big a deal that is.
You did a great job. And by the way, we had a great victory last night. Matt is going to be a great.
Kind of like our race, huh?
He's going to be a great congressman. I think so. Really, like us, right?
Yeah, he's like us.
One of my early endorsements, right?
Yes, sir.
Can we talk about it? You're right here is the man. Come in. Let me say hello to you. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President,
you.
for your leadership. But the thing I've admired most, you've been in business, you've been in the battles over the years, and you're helping us lead us out. Most people that are up here have no idea about business or small business. It makes a big difference. One is. Number two is, I would just say in terms of the tax stuff we're talking about, one of the things that get missed, and I'm in Florida, Sarasota region, is the ability to deduct. Most people have a small business, they'll have a lawn business, they'll have this, that, they buy a new or used truck. They can take that deduction, let's say they're in a 20% tax bracket, but the vehicle's 60 grand, they can take 20% of the 60 grand, get a $12,000 write-off. They can pay their payments for the first year. That's a powerful tool we don't talk about, I don't know why, but at the end of the day, because of what you've put in place, full expensing, that's the tool that it would use. And you could just think about all the people in Florida, just general places, they're buying old vans or new vans, they're buying trucks, mainly trucks, and they're getting a deduction. They don't even have a payment for a year.
That's right.
So one of the best things for
One
Florida.
of the biggest
everybody
things
else.
in the bill.
Yeah,
Expensing.
expensing is a powerful tool. They can write the whole asset off the first year, take that deduction, put $12,000 in their pocket on a $20,000. Well, let me mention one other thing. They got into the e-vehicles, electric cars, and I'm talking to dealers that come in and talk to me, and basically they couldn't sell one, they couldn't give one away, and when these companies, or they got in because of whatever political pressure under Biden administration, and they end up realizing that they got no market. A guy says, the car's been sitting there a year, I can't get rid of it. So they don't understand the market. The people produce the vehicles, and that's made a big difference in your leadership. But thanks for what you're doing here today. It's big, it's huge, it'll make a big difference. $12,000 on a $60,000 vehicle, up front, day one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job.
Yeah.
You know, we're just talking about something that's interesting. Ford would make, and I don't want to speak for Ford because we have one of the top people right here.
Mr. President, it's fine if you want to talk about Ford.
Ford would make numerous electric cars in order to sell one Ford 150.
Yes.
Because they'd make all their money with the 150.
Yes.
And they were willing to lose money on building 2 or 3 electric cars that they couldn't sell in order to make some money on the 150, because the 150 is a monster. I'll tell you what, that no matter where you go, they love that Ford 150.
Yes.
But isn't it a ridiculous model when you have to build 2 or 3 cars that you know you're not going to be selling or not be selling for much in order to really do something that you should have the right to do, which is make a car that you want to make.
Yes.
And that the market wants, right? So congratulations on the 150.
Thank you. Best-selling vehicle in the United States.
Just saying.
Now it's
100% built in the United States.
now it's only going to do no, but it really is. It's amazing. It's an amazing brand.
There was a lot of stupid things done here.
What would you like to say?
Yeah, I thank you, Mr. President and Secretary Duffy and all of us. You know, one of the last times I was here is when you signed the electric vehicle CRA, Congressional Review Act, that all of us participated in, the beginning of really making common sense, because it was going to impact 17 other states and really a large part of our economy. This is about affordability here. I'm just going to say one thing. well, maybe, I already said one thing, so now I'm going to say two things. When we talk about a car and auto, we sort of talk about just, oh, we need a car. Do you know what a car does for a family? You can take your children to school, you can go to the store, you can visit your mother, you can go to church, you can have a job, you have the flexibility that you need. A car for an American family is about a roadway to prosperity.
Big deal.
It's a big deal. And so by making them more affordable, making them more choice-driven by what families want and need, today is a great day for the American family.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and the American worker.
Say.
Well, thank you, Mr. President and Secretary Duffy, and to my colleagues that are here. In Tennessee, we make great automobiles, and we have a fantastic workforce. And whether you're GM or Ford, with their new investment in Tennessee, or Nissan or VW or Toyota with the engine plant, what you see is the components that are necessary to build these cars. And removing these standards and making cars more affordable does mean that more people will purchase them, but it also means we're going to have to make more cars to meet that demand, and for Tennessee, that is a great thing.
So, you know, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, like, we have the biggest auto manufacturers in the world. They're talking about investing billions and they're investing it as we speak, but billions and billions of dollars in our country. Thank you very much. And they're here. They're not like, well, maybe we'll do it. They're doing it because of tariffs, and they're doing it because of maybe they like the president, and we're doing things like this for them, which frankly, no matter who you are, this should be done. And we're doing things like deductibility of interest. When you borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct it from your income tax. That is a massive tax cut for people that probably are going to be trying to buy that car anyway. And I really think that that interest factor is going to be one of the biggest things. When I was proud of that because I thought of it, and it seems so simple. Other people are allowed big interest. If you're a rich person, you're allowed to have big interest deductions for different things you do. But if you're a middle-income person that has to buy a car, you were never entitled to anything. And now you're getting a full interest deduction on the loan. And I think that's going to have one of the biggest impacts. But we're here with companies that are investing tens of billions of dollars in our country as we speak. It's not going to be in 2 years or 3 years. A lot of it's because of the expensing provision in the bill, in the big, beautiful bill. But a miracle is happening in our country. It's a miracle. This is just the auto industry, but we have other industries where it's the same thing. They're building all over our country, and this is a revolution is happening. It's a business revolution. It's a jobs revolution. It's a car revolution. We're bringing back the car industry that was stolen from us because we have people that didn't know what they were doing sitting at this desk. They put the wrong people in because they weren't advised properly. And this is really an incredible thing that's happening. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. And I think in many respects, pretty much everything that could be said has been, except that I think what Kevin talks about in terms of the cascading economic opportunity from this one single event is just the tip of the iceberg. When you think of all the rules and regulations that you have repealed, I think it's more important, frankly, than the tax cuts. However, in the Working Family Tax Cuts Act, remember we made permanent a lot of really good policy from the first Trump era, not the least of which for small businesses is bonus depreciation. The opportunity to depreciate the year that you purchase an F-150 for your small business or a large truck for your farm. I just think we're going to roll into 2026 and we're going to see an escalation of economic opportunity, the likes of which I probably have never seen.
I think nobody's ever seen it, nobody in the world, because there's never been 18 or whatever it ends up being. In 10 months, we have $18 trillion being invested. We never had $1 trillion being invested. And Biden had much less than that. Think of it. He had less than $1 trillion over 4 years. We have $18 trillion in 10 months, and it's actually as of 9 months. So there's never been anything. Eric?
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you. And on behalf of the people of the great state of Missouri, who we actually make things from F-15s to F-47s now, thanks to you. We'll be building the F-47 and then F-150s. And those are real jobs, and we make things in Missouri. This is going to go a long way, I think, for making things more affordable for normal people. Nothing could be more American than driving a car on a highway, and this is going to make that more accessible for more people. So thanks for your leadership.
Your state's doing a great job.
Yeah, well, they love you too.
It's a great place. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to talk to you just a minute from a rural perspective,
Okay.
because these CAFE standards were absolutely unworkable in rural Missouri. We need vehicles that are practical and affordable and
Right.
can haul for our small businesses, for agriculture, and it just simply didn't work. Those CAFE standards didn't work. So I applaud you and Secretary Duffy for your hard work and what you're doing on behalf of rural America.
Well, it was keeping a lot of manufacturers out of our country too. They said, "We're not going to." Are you crazy? They thought outside manufacturers thought we were absolutely insane with all of the different things that were just made up nonsense. It was like made up. It was really made up by people that hate our country. I really believe. Does anybody else have anything to say?
I'd say about two quick things, Mr.
Oh, no,
President.
Bernie, I didn't see you.
Two quick things I think are really important. So the person who sat behind this desk before you gave $7,500 in subsidies to multimillionaires who are leasing electric Rolls Royces, electric Porsches, electric Lamborghinis. We're getting $7,500 from the taxpayer. And these Democrats sit on this floor and say that Republicans are for millionaires and billionaires. We are the opposite of giving $7,500 to multi-billionaires to lease foreign electric vehicles. Number two, because of your policies, at the beginning of the year, 51% of the cars sold in America were made in America, 51%, before you got sworn in. Last month, that number was 57%. We moved it 6 points, which nobody thought would be possible in 4 years. We did it in 10 months. That's something that maybe the news should cover a little bit more. And we've driven down the price of automobiles. The car prices for consumers are down before you did.
Just about everything is down. You know, this whole thing is, they use the word affordability. It's a Democrat hoax. They're the ones that drove the prices up. And all they do is say, affordability, and you're supposed to say, oh, that means they had low prices. No, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but let's say that's history. I don't believe that. Biden had, because of his stupid ways and between his energy policies and his spending policies, we had the worst inflation in the history of our country. And now our prices are coming down, and they're coming down for cars, and they're coming down. I mean, did you hear yesterday when Chris Wright from Energy, the head of energy in our country, said there are now parts of our country, it's all happening, $1.99 for gasoline, a gallon. And we have it at $2.50, $2.60. It was at $5. And that's bigger than any tax cut we could give. And, you know, for the average family, that's considered bigger than any tax cut. So the word affordability, when they mention it, you ever watch them? It's all about, I saw the young lady that lost last night. She lost by a lot more than they thought. And we have a great new candidate in Congress, really great, Matt Van Epps. But I saw last night, she said, it's all about affordability, all about it. They never talk about like the specifics.
Right.
Everything was through the roof. Eggs, when I took over, eggs were 4 times higher than they ever were. We got the prices down to the lowest level.
Yep.
I mean, amazing. But they never, you gotta watch, they're great con people. It's like the Inflation Reduction Act. And after they got it approved, because everybody said inflation reduction, they admitted it had nothing to do with reducing inflation. It's a con job. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No, they had the worst inflation. We had the highest prices we ever had, and now they're all coming down, including beef is coming down. Beef was up there a little bit. Our ranchers did well, but we got to make them do a little bit less well, perhaps. But the beef is now coming down. Coffee is now coming down. It's all coming down. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But remember this, when they use the word affordability, they just say, they never say anything else. This election's about affordability, and then they go on to the next subject. It's a con job. They caused the highest prices in the history of our country, the worst inflation. in the history of our country, and we're getting those prices down, and they're coming down rapidly, and you'll see those results very soon. Anybody else want to say a few words? Oh, Ted, I can't believe it.
I'm easy to miss.
I didn't see. It's very rare that I would miss it. Go ahead, Ted.
Well, Mr. President, I want to congratulate you on behalf of everyone here for the leadership that you're showing. And this is a victory today for consumers. This is a victory for affordability. Your critics like to say the word affordability. Under Joe Biden and the Democrats, they put mandate after mandate after mandate on cars and trucks, and they drove the price up thousands and thousands of dollars. And with the actions you're taking today, and you put on top of that the one big beautiful bill, you know, most of the senators here on the Senate Commerce Committee, and on the Commerce Committee, we worked together to zero out the CAFE standards. We wrote that into the law that the CAFE standards went to zero. What does that mean? It means you can now, as a consumer, buy the car you want. It also means people's lives will be safer, because what these regulations did is they forced cars to be more expensive and made of plastic instead of steel, because you had to make them lighter to comply with these standards, so you'd get in a wreck and people would die. The result of what you're doing, you're literally saving people's lives, and you're making it where families can afford to get a new car. These actions will drop the cost of cars and trucks thousands of dollars. That makes a real difference. And I'll make one final point. You know, about half the members here are car dealers. And I will say my good friend Roger Williams out in the lobby, he tried to sell me a car, which didn't surprise me, but I just want to give props to Mike Kelly. He showed he was savvier because he tried to sell you a car, and you can afford a much nicer car than I can. So well done, Mike Roger. You just went to the wrong customer.
I was $100 cheaper.
The thing that Ted just said, it's true. Plastic instead of steel. Think of that. And people died because of that. The plastic was plastic in an auto accident, and it broke up, and people were shattered because of that crazy deal. But it's a really good point. Go ahead.
And Mr. President, I'll tell you, the Senate Commerce Committee on January 14th, we're going to have a hearing with all of the big three there and Tesla, and the entire hearing is going to focus on how your leadership has reduced the burdens on car makers. That's lowering costs, that's giving consumers more choices, and it's producing more jobs in America. And it's highlighting that's a real record of success.
Yeah, well, it's an honor. And, you know, they were going by California. We had like 2 different countries, California and 15 that followed California, because you had 15 states follow California. And the rules from California were just like everything else. That's why people are leaving. That's why it's such a mess. There's a state with such unbelievable potential, but what they did with the car industry is incredible. And that was, you know, the car companies didn't know what to do because they had 2 standards, and you can't build 2 different cars for the same country. And what we're doing today is very big. Would anybody like to say something? Would you like to say something, my friend?
I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you. Once again,
and we love you, Brian.
Oh, I love you too, Mr. President. I've always said
he's a good man.
Well, I appreciate that. I've always said you've tackled the three M's: mortgage, munchkins, and marriage. You've solidified all of those. I'll add motor vehicles to that now. My question, I got one about consumer confidence. We just came off one of the record high Black Friday, up 9.1%.
Record high, highest ever, biggest amount ever purchased in one day. Yep.
Which I think counters this narrative of affordability, because apparently the Americans are spending money. So I want to see, how do you view that for a consumer confidence being so high going into Christmas and going into next year? And I do have one for the auto group after you.
Yeah,
after
I just think that we have tremendous confidence in the country. You know, one of the things in terms of confidence, if you go back a year and a half, you know, it's amazing, we're like into 10 months already, but you go back a little bit before the election, because after November 5th, it started changing rapidly, even though we weren't running it until January 20th. But when you look back and you look at the enlistment of soldiers, people that wanted to join the military, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, it's like booming, it's all Space Force. But we had the worst recruitment in the history of our country. A year later, we have the greatest recruitment in the history. You can't even get in. Getting in is like getting into a top college that you couldn't get in. People want to be in the service now, and that includes the police and firemen, other things. You couldn't hire police, you couldn't hire anybody in the Army or the Navy. You couldn't get people in, and we now have gone from that to record recruitment. We're getting high quality people, amazing people, wanting to be in the military. They have spirit now, call it what you want, but that's part of it. But they have great spirit now. It's a great thing. Go ahead, ask your second question.
Okay, my second question, I've got a lot of close family friends that are in the automotive business, own dealerships all across Southern California. They sent me a question to ask you. There's a thing called a mileage blocker that is installed on vehicles. It's a type of a computer chip which alters the actual mileage driven on the vehicle, so that when you have a leased vehicle that's turned in, they're losing thousands of dollars. They've got to go chase down these manufacturers. What can we do to track down these manufacturers of this illegal computer chip that's really hurting the automotive industry?
Have you heard about this?
Yes, sir. They're getting built in China, and most of them are coming out of Great Britain, sir. They're being distributed through China, through distributors selling them online through Great Britain. Yes, sir.
Wow, that's not so good. What do you think?
Don't look at that.
Bernie, do you know anything about that?
It works on older vehicles, and obviously, we got to do a better job.
Yeah, I think it's something, I've never heard of it. Very good. We never heard of it. That's pretty good.
Mr. President, you released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what
I
happened?
don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem. We stopped, every boat we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives.
That's right.
And if you look at our numbers, the drugs coming in through sea are down 91%. I'm surprised there's 9% you want to. I don't know who's doing the 9%, but it's down 91, and we're going to start very soon on land, and I'm sure you're thrilled to hear that.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were there last night with Vladimir Putin. Can you give us an update about those talks? It sounds from what the Kremlin is saying that they're not going to compromise. Can you tell us what you've...
I don't know what the Kremlin's doing. I can tell you that they had a reasonably good meeting with President Putin. We're going to find out. It's a war that should have never been started. It's a war, if I were president, we had a rigged election. If I were president, that war would have never happened. It's a terrible thing. But I thought they had a very good meeting yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. It's, when I was in this office and I talked about no cards, I said, you have no cards. That was the time to settle. I thought that would have been a much better time to settle. But they, in their wisdom, decided not to do that. They have a lot of things against them right now. But you have President Putin had a very good meeting yesterday with Jared Kushner and with Steve Witkoff. What comes out of that meeting, I can't tell you, because it does take two to tango. Ukraine, I think we have something pretty well worked out with them. They're very satisfied, considering. But the sad part is, if I were president, no war would have ever happened. They would have had 100% of their territory. Nothing would have happened. It's a very sad situation. So think of this. Last month, 27,000 soldiers. 27. That's like you take a stadium, a football stadium, not an arena, and you cut it in half. 27,000 people died, mostly young soldiers, died last month, in 1 month. And that's the only reason I'm involved. We're not spending any money in the war. We're selling to NATO. We're not being ripped off like we were under Biden. Biden was handing everybody everything we had, giving them all the missiles, everything they wanted, free, no charge. He had no idea what he was doing. They're paying top dollar, full price for everything. Goes to NATO, and then NATO distributes it. NATO pays us. So it's not money. We would all, I think I can speak for everyone behind here. The politicians I know and the auto manufacturers are good people. They don't want to see 27,000 people die for no reason whatsoever. And that's the only reason I'm trying to help. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, switching to Venezuela for a second. Have you checked back with President Maduro? I mean, is your pressure campaign working? And do you think, how's he responding to your demand that he leave the country?
It's not pressure campaign. It's much beyond that, I think. But I spoke to him briefly, just told him a couple of things. We'll see what happens with that. Venezuela sends us drugs, but Venezuela sends us people that they shouldn't be sending. They emptied their prisons into our country. They sent us killers, murderers. They sent us drug dealers at the highest level. They sent us gang members. They sent us people from their mental institutions. They emptied their mental institutions into our country. And so did other countries, because we had stupid people running this country, really stupid people. And I think probably you had some stupid ones and you had some smart ones, but there were bad people too. Because not all of them were stupid. You can't cheat on elections like they did and be stupid, okay?
Did you talk to him a second time or just that one time?
What's that?
To Maduro, did you speak to him again?
No, I didn't.
Mr. President, if you do find... When you spoke with Mr. Witkoff and with Mr. Kushner... Last night, did they give you the sense that President Putin still wants to end the war, wants to make peace?
He would like to end the war. That was their impression. Now, whether or not,
you believe
that was their impression. Their impression was that he would like to see the war ended. I think he'd like to get back to dealing a more normal life. I think he'd like to be trading with the United States of America, frankly, instead of, losing thousands of soldiers a week. But their impression was very strongly that they'd like to make a deal. We'll see what happens.
Mr. President, the boat strikes, if it is found that survivors were actually killed while clinging on to that boat, should Secretary Hegseth, Admiral Bradley, or others be punished?
I think you're going to find that this is war, that these people were killing our people by the millions, actually, if you look over a few years. I think last year we lost close to 300,000 people were killed. That's not mentioning all the families. Have you seen what happens with the families of not only the people killed, the people that are trying to get their son or their daughter off of this poison that they've been fed? I think you're going to find that there's a very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, and I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to kill survivors after the initial
No, I
strike?
support the decision to knock out the boats, and whoever's piloting those boats, most of them are gone, but whoever are piloting those boats, they're guilty of trying to kill people in our country. Yeah, please.
The House Judiciary Committee has subpoenaed Jack Smith to ask about his investigation of you. I wondered, for a deposition, I wondered if you'd prefer to see that as a hearing so that the American public can see the questions and the responses more easily.
I'd rather see it probably at a hearing. Look, Jack Smith is a thug. He's a failed prosecutor. He's a bad man. He's an evil man. He hurt a lot of people. Forget about me. I do this stuff, but I got indicted many times by a guy that they were dismissed. He's a bad guy. He's a sick man. There's something wrong with him, actually. I think Jack Smith is a sick man. There's something really wrong with him. I'd rather see him testify publicly because there's no way he can answer the questions. But Biden knew this was going along. Kamala knew it was going along. And there's a lot of things happening right now that they don't like. One of the things is the auto pen. Everything he signed, almost, with the exception of the pardon of his wonderful son, Hunter, just about everything he signed was not signed by him. He had no knowledge of it. He didn't know what it was. People sitting around the beautiful Resolute desk knew exactly what it was. And those people are guilty, in my opinion, of a major crime. Everything that was signed by that auto pen, the man operating the auto pen, and I'm sure there are more than one because I think some of the people can operate it themselves. Some of the high-level people operated themselves. They would just go in and sign his name with an auto pen onto very important documents, not only pardons, but policy, maybe CAFE standards, okay, as an example. Who signed CAFE? If you ask Biden what's a CAFE standard, he would have absolutely no idea. He'd say, where is the CAFE located? The guy didn't know anything. Look, that just shows you what a rigged election can be, but you understand what I'm saying. Thank you.
You've had conversations
with Jensen.
Right, so...
Smart man.
In your conversations with him, have you kind of given a sense of where you are with export controls and the types of chips that NVIDIA can get to China?
Sure, he knows very well. He's done an amazing job. NVIDIA, very good. Yeah.
Mr. President, when do you expect for phase 2 of the Gaza peace plan to be implemented? And
Well, it's going along well. They had a problem today, I understand, with a bomb that went off. hurt some people pretty badly, probably killed some people. They're telling me it just happened. But it's going on. We have peace in the Middle East. People don't realize it. We have tremendous support. 59 countries. There's tremendous support. But phase 2 is moving along. Yeah, it's going to happen pretty soon.
Mr. President, did you speak with House Republican leadership about your decision to pardon Congressman Henry Cuellar? And are you concerned that you made a vulnerable Democrat perhaps less vulnerable with that decision?
It didn't matter. He's a respected person. He was treated very badly because he said that people should not be allowed to pour into our country. And he was right. He didn't like open borders. He was on the border. You know, he represents a very respected man. He represents the people on the border. And he saw what was happening. And as soon as he made that statement, I then said, I'll bet he gets indicted. And that's what happened. You know, I put out my truth from that. Well, I did a truth. Wonderful truth. We love truth. But what happened is he got indicted for speaking the truth. And his wife got indicted, Imelda. And that's sort of a first. Usually they leave the wives alone, right? Don't they, Congressman? Yeah. Typically they indict somebody, put him in jail for the rest of his life, but the wife can just sit home and cry, or she'll find a new man. You know? A lot of times they find a new man that makes them much happier. In fact, a lot of times they like that man better than the one that's in jail.
Mr. President, thank you. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also saying...
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, you know, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Walz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with... go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country. Without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon. I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight. They talk about our country. We want them to pray for our country. This is not the people living in Minnesota. And she's a disaster. She should not be, and her friends shouldn't be allowed. Frankly, they shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople, okay? They shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople because they don't represent the interests of our country. Anybody else?
Mr. President, the automakers spent billions on meeting the Biden EV rules. Should they be able to recoup that somehow, given the change? And there's a question about the
doing it. No. I'm not letting them recoup. They're going to do just fine. You know how they recoup? From this point forward, they'll do very well.
Can you also talk about the USMCA and what you're thinking about renegotiating that with the automakers?
Well, we're you know, that's just an ongoing thing. It expires in about a year, and we'll either let it expire or we'll maybe work out another deal with Mexico and Canada. But look, Mexico and Canada have taken advantage of the United States, like just about every other country, in all fairness. It's not them, I'm not blaming them. But every country, because we had stupid people running our country. We have a lot of stupid people running. That's why we have $38 trillion in debt. But the beautiful thing about the tariffs is we'll start paying off that debt. The money coming in, they're finding money in our country now that they never knew existed. The other day, $30 billion. Where did it come from? I said, why don't you check the tariff shelf? They said, sir, that tariff hasn't started yet. It doesn't start till January. I said, no, it started 2 months ago. They called back, sir, you're right, it was from tariffs. No, we have a whole different country. I hope the Supreme Court, I pray that the Supreme Court understands the importance of the sensible, really, I mean, this would be country threatening if something happened with regard to that. You know, the people that brought that case are bad people. They're very bad people. They hate our country. They represent foreign countries, including China, but they represent, and China's paying us a lot of money now in tariffs, but they represent people that really don't like our country much. And I know some of them, and they're scum. In my opinion, they're scum. They're absolute scum. And they're not suing for any good reason. They're just suing to see if they can stop it, because they make money if this country does badly. You know? So, but we're taking in trillions of dollars. We're stopping wars. We have great national security because of tariffs. And then to think that we have to even go and justify this. The reason a lot of these people, I can tell you this, maybe we would have had the political people, we wouldn't have these people without tariffs. The people that are up here from Stellantis and Ford and General Motors, great companies, including this gentleman, they wouldn't be here today if we didn't have tariffs. They'd be building their plants in Mexico and other places. They're leaving Mexico and they're leaving Canada. They're leaving because they ripped off our country. They took our businesses away from us. And now, because of tariffs, they're all coming back. So it's a great thing. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, you call Somalians garbage. What about
Thank you.
Thank you, cameras.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
So nice to meet you. Good luck for the game. Signal. Weak signal.
Fast teams need a fast CRM, and that's Monday CRM. It all started with the quickest onboarding I've seen, then wasted no time customizing the team's lead board to include all the info they need, and even pulled in all the tools they use right away. Then Maria, our head of sales, quickly took care of our busy work and built some key automations without a single line of code. Marcus used the email composition AI tool and sent a mass email to 500 leads in a matter of minutes. To top it all off, Jalen, our director, loves that she can keep up with everything no matter where she is. Thanks to customizable dashboards, she's just one click away from all the data she needs. The whole deal process is way more efficient and deals are closing faster. And that's a must when you're moving this fast. Monday CRM. Move deals faster.
When you walk into a Burlington, you're walking into low prices and amazing gifts. That's main character energy. Because at Burlington, the deals aren't the only thing bringing joy. Seriously, with these savings, why shop anywhere else this holiday?
Burlington deals brands wow.
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you need to meet, it's this dope tech from Wix. Now this whole flow is a conversation, so your words actually build your website. I'm going for a store. And after a free-flowing conversation, I get this detailed site brief. And just like that, my first draft is ready. Now that's dope. Next, you can really get in there and style it your way. Here's the fun part. You can regenerate this whole thing over and over. Or you can tweak something specific, like your layout. Let me describe what I had in mind. Yeah, that's fire. If there was ever a time to speak life into your dreams, it's right now using the Wix AI website builder.
Come on.
They're relying on us.
Are we gonna be okay?
We're relying on you. Please donate now.
At Vistaprint, we print signs so people can see your brand up close. But we also print signs so that people can see your business here, see it here, and see it here, so you stand out. Even when they're way back here. Get 15% off signs and banners at Vistaprint.com.
Well, welcome to all of you out in cyberspace, and I have a wonderful collection of colleagues here in physical space, and we're going to have an interesting conversation with Jensen Huang. I would waste your time by introducing him. You know, everybody knows Jensen, but what you may not know is that he started from fairly humble roots. Your mom was a school teacher, your dad was a petroleum engineer. You and I share one thing in common, is that's we both started off, our first job was running a dishwashing machine in a restaurant.
Denny's. What was your restaurant?
It was at Mount Rushmore when I was all but you did better than I did. He became a busboy and later a waiter, and then I guess led him to NVIDIA. You know, it's a remarkable story. I think it's the quintessential American story.
It is.
That, you know, we welcome people who come with just energy and imagination and creativity, and they make an astounding success. And
thank you.
Congratulations and thank you. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a very interesting conversation today, colleagues. And you know, it's NVIDIA is not only a huge economic success, but it's a national security platform. And I think we want to talk about that today. I've been looking at your website, and you do talk about NVIDIA as being a platform. What does that mean?
A platform. A platform is something that you build other things upon. NVIDIA is the largest pure-play technology company the United States has ever seen. In fact, we're the largest pure-play technology company the world's ever known. We create technology out of nothing. Our final product is pure technology, and in order to use it, you have to create software and applications for various industries above it. You know, if you look at most of the technology companies today, some of it could be in social media, some of it could be in e-commerce, some of it could be in information search, and these are all amazing technology companies whose business models are something else. Our business.
Did you know the concept of a 4-year college degree dates back to medieval Europe? 15th century scholars took 4 years to master logic, rhetoric, and grammar. But times have changed, and so should we. Since 1914, Johnson & Wales University has been a leader in hands-on, high-impact learning. Now at the university's 3-year bachelor's degrees, students can save money, graduate sooner, and start their careers earlier. Because in today's world, success shouldn't have to wait.
Essentially the chips and systems, but the chips. That's where NVIDIA comes in. Layer 3 is a whole bunch of software, and we build a whole bunch of software on top of our chips. And we're well known for this piece of software called CUDA, but there's hundreds of different pieces of software that we create that enables people to do AI for different fields of science or language or images or whatever it happens to be, robotics and manufacturing and such. But that third layer is called infrastructure, basically software. Now people historically have thought of infrastructure really as cloud. But increasingly, it's really important to realize that infrastructure includes land, power, shell, because these are, and I'll speak about this in a second, that this industry spawned another industry altogether, and I'll come back to that. But the third layer is basically infrastructure, and that infrastructure includes financial services, because it takes an enormous amount of capital to do what we do, and historically, all of that software. The layer above that, and this is where people largely focus on when they talk about AI, which is the AI models. This is the revolutionary, of course, ChatGPT, incredible work that Anthropic does with Claude, and Google does with Gemini, and what XAI does with Grok. But the important thing to realize, those are 4 of the 1.5 million AI models in the world. AI is not just intelligence that understands English or language, but it's AI that understands genes, proteins, chemicals, the laws of physics, AI that understands quantum, AI that understands physical articulation, otherwise known as robotics, AI that understands patterns across long sequence of time, financial services, AI that understands longitudinally across multiple modalities, healthcare. And so AI has all of these different reaches and domains. We talk about this one area. We just have to be very careful to understand that AI spans basically every form of information across every field of science, across every single industry. 1.5 million AIs around the world. On top of that are all the applications. And we never should forget that in the final analysis, these AI models are technologies, but technologies are about enabling application and use. Whether you're in healthcare, you could be in entertainment, manufacturing, self-driving cars, transportation. Each one of these industries have AIs that deeply affect them, and these are the 5-layer stack. NVIDIA is at the lower level, the platform level. The reason why we say that we're an AI company that works with every single AI company in the world is because we're the platform by which we are able to work with all of these technology companies and all these application companies across all these industries. And so that is a platform that we created. The moat that people describe, not so much a moat, but basically the language by which all of these different applications and these different technologies speak to us is an architecture we invented 25 years ago called CUDA. And on top of that CUDA library is a whole bunch of algorithms that we invented over the years, and that is basically NVIDIA's platform. In the end, we don't build self-driving cars, but we work with every single self-driving car company in the world. In the end, we don't discover drugs, but we just have, we work with every single drug discovery company in the world. We're the platform by which they build their things. We're a platform company.
I think I had a half a dozen young kids come up to me today saying NVIDIA gave them a better gaming experience. I mean,
before we invented the AI industry, the first industry we created is the modern gaming industry. Yeah. You don't know this. I'm very proud of this. NVIDIA is the world's largest gaming platform.
Yeah, and
you probably didn't know that.
That's how most of the kids were talking to me about that today. I want to see them.
300 million active users.
Yeah.
100 million of them, Nintendo Switch. Yeah, NVIDIA's in that.
Okay, so let me ask you. You said something recently that was quite provocative. You said that China was winning the AI race, the AI competition. I know that you've got a powerful, competitor in Huawei, and Huawei has a lot of advantages you don't have. Why don't you describe this competition? Are we really losing?
It was a very good headline.
It was a great headline, yeah.
And it apparently caught a lot of attention. As you know, with headlines, the disclaimer part, the foundation part was left out of the headline. But the way to think about that is, let me just handicap it right now. If you look at AI and go back to the first thing that we said, AI is a 5-layer cake. Let's just always simplify. It's not quite this simplistic, but let's simplify AI into a 5-layer cake. Energy, chips, infrastructure, models, and applications. Okay? And let's handicap it across from bottom to top. At the lowest level, energy, China has twice the amount of energy we have as a nation.
I want to ask about that.
Twice as much energy as we have as a nation, and our economy is larger than theirs. Makes no sense to me. We also know that one of the most important initiatives, one of the most important policies of this administration, and that was the first thing that President Trump said to me when we met, is, listen, we need to reindustrialize America. We need to onshore manufacturing again. We need to help America make things again. It's going to create jobs. That part of the economy has been offshored and completely gutted the United States. We need to bring that back, and he needs my help to do so. And so that entire sector of the economy is missing. And however, without energy, how do we build chip plants, computer system plants, and these AI data centers? We call them AI factories. We're building simultaneously 3 different types of factories in the United States: chip factories, supercomputer factories, and AI factories. They all require energy, every single one of them. Yeah. And so on the one hand, we want to reindustrialize the United States. How do you do that without energy? And so the fact that we vilified energy for so long, President Trump sticking his neck out and taking it on the chin and helping the country realize that energy is necessary for our growth is one of one of the greatest things he's done right off the bat. And so now, at the energy level, back to that stack, we're 50%, and they're growing straight up. We're kind of flat right now. And so, number 1, energy. Number 2, chips. We're generations ahead. We are generations ahead on chips, and I think everybody recognizes that. Number 3, infrastructure. If you want to build a data center here in the United States, from breaking ground to standing up a AI supercomputer is probably about 3 years. They can build a hospital in a weekend. That's a real challenge. And so at the infrastructure layer, their velocity of building things, because they are builders, their velocity of building things is extraordinarily high. Now, really quickly on chips, we're several generations ahead, but don't be complacent. Remember, semiconductors is a manufacturing process. Anybody who thinks China can't manufacture is missing a big idea.
But China discounts energy costs for a chip company by 50%.
That's right.
They provide free transportation for employees to come out to the factory.
That's right.
I mean, you can't do that. I mean,
our energy cost is more expensive than theirs in the first place.
Absolutely.
And then they discounted 50%. And so we're probably call it 4 to 8 times the cost. You know?
So tell me, how do you feel about this great competition with China? I mean, the government is putting enormous resources underneath their champion. We don't do that in this country. How do you feel about that?
Well, before I get there, don't let me not answer that question. I'm dying to answer it. But let me handicap the next 2 layers. The model layer, United States frontier models, our frontier models are unquestionably world-class. We are probably, call it 6 months ahead. However, out of the 1.4 million models, most of them are open source. China is well ahead, way ahead on open source. Now, the reason why open source is so important is because without open source, startups can't thrive, university researchers can't do research, you can't teach AI, scientists can't use AI. Basically, all of the industry around your economy have no ability to fundamentally advance themselves unless you have open source. Without Linux, where would we be? Without Kubernetes, without PyTorch, all of these different types of technologies that made AI thrive are all open source. They are well ahead of us on open source. And then the layer above that, applications. If you were to do a poll of their society and ours, and you ask them, is AI likely to do more good than harm? They're going to say, in their case, 80% would say AI will do more good than harm. In our case, it'd be the other way around. And so that tells you something that's very, very important. Socially, we need to be careful not to describe AI in these science fiction movie ways of describing AI and causing people so much concern. We want to be concerned, but we also want to be practical. AI is about automation. And that area I think that we need to be careful not to fall behind in the application and the diffusion of AI, because in the end, whoever applies the technology first and most wins that industrial revolution. As you know, electricity was invented in the UK, but the United States applied it faster, more broadly, and as a result, look where we are. And so we have to be a little mindful. And so anyways, I just handicapped that stack, okay? Yeah. And I don't think it's important when you're looking at AI not to see it as a holistic thing. It's really not about ChatGPT versus DeepSeek. You have to look at it across all of the stacks and across all of the industries. Does that make sense? It's a little bit more complicated than one simple answer.
But do you feel you have a level playing field up against China putting their resources under Huawei?
First of all, America's technology industry, just as our financial services industry, our military, our technology industry, we can all agree, are the mightiest in the world. I am part of one of the mightiest industries anyone in history has ever seen. Oh. We have, going toe-to-toe against anyone, the American technology industry has nothing to fear. We are mighty, we're fast, we're inventive, we'll take anybody on. However, we can't concede the market to them. As you know, at the moment, NVIDIA has been banned from going to China. Not to mention, China has banned NVIDIA going to China. Yeah. And so I think we're the first company in history that has been banned on both sides. And so whoever banned us going to China, them and China agree that NVIDIA should not go to. Now, of course, I'm being a little cute here, and I'll be a little bit more nuanced here in a second. But at the moment, we're simply not competing in China. Now, what's going on? We have conceded essentially the second largest AI market, the second largest technology market in the world.
I know.
China will. It's not. Somebody has said to me, "Well, yeah, okay. Well, we're not in China, but we're going to grow somewhere else. You're not going to replace China." It's just as the world wanting to sell to America and they want to export to America. If they don't export to America, you're not going to replace the United States. We are singular in the world. We are absolutely singular. And so in the case of China, we shouldn't concede the entire market to them. They're formidable, but conceding that entire market, we ought to go compete for it. Having said that, we should also acknowledge that Huawei is one of the most formidable technology companies the world has ever seen. They deserve, although they have a lot of support, whatever support they have, they deserve all of the respect that everybody ought to give them. We compete with this company. They're formidable. They're agile. They move incredibly fast. We said if the United States was not in China, China's AI industry would be set back.
Yeah.
Absolutely has not happened. As a result, their semiconductor industry has double. You know, the semiconductor industry in the West, around the world, is growing at 20-30% per year. Growing 20-30% per year compounded versus doubling every year compounded doesn't take long to catch up.
But, you know, they're starting on second base and we're just going up to the batter's box. You know, they've got a real advantage. And that means we need to think about this. Can I ask you, we, at the G20 summit, Li Keqiang, you know, the premier was there, and he was offering opportunities for countries to be participants with China on AI. We didn't even send a delegation. It doesn't feel like we're in the game.
They're smart about technology proliferation.
Yeah.
If we use 5G as an example, they realize 5G is technology that's also a platform, because on top of 5G, you build all kinds of services on top of it. Well, if you get there first, wherever you get first, if you get there first, just as NVIDIA, I was there 25 years first. And so I had, for a long time, nobody paid me any never mind, so I had lots and lots of time to build up all these ecosystems and applications and relationships and ecosystems, and I connected all this stuff together in all these different fields of industry. I had 25 years to do it. In the case of Huawei with 5G, they were completely, through policy, completely isolated, people thought, in China.
Need parts fast? Need them now? We're O'Reilly Fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When you walk into a Burlington, you're walking into low prices and amazing gifts. That's main character energy. Because at Burlington, the deals aren't the only thing bringing joy.
Burlington deals brands wow.
Seriously, with these savings, why shop anywhere else this holiday?
Burlington deals brands wow.
Look at that.
Take a step back again. Remember, I think it's like 9 out of the 10 top science and technology schools in the world are now in China. They lead in science and technology in many different fields. This has completely flipped in the last half to a decade. We used to lead most of them. Now they lead most of them. They have a large population of highly qualified students.
Absolutely.
Number one. Number two, 50% of the world's AI researchers are Chinese. Third, 70% of last year's AI patents are published by China. The ecosystem of AI in China is vibrant, rich, incredibly innovative. They work incredibly hard. This is a country with an enormous might. So that is the ecosystem of software developers. Now, that layer, as I just mentioned, the model and the application layer. All of these scientists, they're sitting at the model and the application layer. And now they're going to take that capability, because the United States is no longer participating in China. We've left China. We've evacuated that market. We've conceded that market. And so now they've got to go build their own. So using these AI researchers, all of these incredible computer scientists that they have, their richness of software capability, and they're going to go build their own complete stack. Once they build that entire complete stack, they'll export it as quickly as you could imagine. And this is the world of what we will find someday if we don't activate.
We'll be buyers, not sellers.
That's right.
Let me ask you now, you're in Washington, D.C. I know you don't look forward to those opportunities, but it's
my only opportunity to wear a suit.
And a tie. But let me ask, because, we're involved in something I've not seen before in my 45 years here. We've delved into industrial policy. I always thought industrial policy was something that we shouldn't be doing in this country. Now, the Biden administration decided that they would define what they would allow you to sell. And they have this thing that they call diffusion that they were trying to manage. Now you get the Trump administration. They don't have that, but they want a golden share, and they want a % of the cut, on how you're doing business. Tell me about how you look at this industrial policy that we have in Washington.
I do agree that industrial policy should intervene when a dramatic action needs to be taken. I also would say that President Trump walked into a situation where dramatic actions needed to be taken. The first dramatic action that needed to be taken is to reverse the mistakes that have been made in energy growth over the course of the last decade. We have done our country a great disservice. There are no new industries you can grow without energy.
Yeah, electricity.
That's right, we need electricity, because otherwise, sure, we could all be in the services industry, and as you know, the service industry only needs calories. But manufacturing industry needs electricity. And so we need energy, number one. Number two, we do need to, if we want to fix our social issues, domestic social issues, we have to create prosperity, not just for people with PhDs and college degrees. We have to create prosperity for every segment of the economy. And so the largest segment of the economy is manufacturing, and we've offshored that for too long, for 20 years. We have to bring that back, and we have the ability to do so. And this AI industrial revolution, this flashpoint, is precisely when we should do it, because it allows us, it created a company called NVIDIA, made it possible for us to have such a large ecosystem of suppliers. We can encourage them to partner with us. We can encourage Taiwan to partner with us to help us reindustrialize the United States, and they've done so with great support. Taiwan really needs to have some acknowledgement for the incredible effort that they're putting in place to help us reindustrialize the United States. If not for the work that they're doing, the work that NVIDIA has done in Arizona wouldn't have made the progress it has. Oh. I recently gave a congratulations speech at TSMC in Arizona, and when I looked out into the audience, it was 2/3 Taiwanese and 1/3 American. Arizona is practically, well, the quality of Taiwanese food in Arizona, let me just put it out. The quality of Taiwanese food in Arizona has increased tremendously. Okay, you want to get a bowl of beef noodle soup, you're gonna do just fine. But all these young families from Taiwan came to help us stand up our factories, and so we should acknowledge that. And South Korea helping us stand up our memory manufacturing, we should acknowledge that. The companies Foxconn, Wistron, Amcor, Spill helping us set up systems manufacturing. They came from Taiwan. Really important. And so one, if not for the fact, the second industrial policy is to reindustrialize the United States. That, I think, is a fantastic, fantastic initiative. And I'm all behind that. I was probably the first CEO to jump behind that and take advantage of NVIDIA's capabilities and this flashpoint of AI industrial revolution to help bring all of that supply chain. I committed to my customers, my partners, that we're going to build in this administration within President Trump's term, $500 billion of AI supercomputers. And so that's the second part, energy growth, reindustrializing the United States. The third part that I think required a fair amount of discussion to help policymakers understand that technology leadership, American technology leadership, and American national security goes hand in hand. Our nation's extraordinary technology industry is part of our national security. The fact that we have our technology all over the world, that the world relies on to build their industries, their ecosystem, their economies, is an advantage for the United States. It's a strength of the United States. It helps keep United States safe when everybody works with us.
Let me build on that.
Yeah.
I think national security, there are two dimensions of national security. And I differentiate small case and large case. Small case, national security, small n, small s. I think that's, aircraft carriers and bombers and divisions and training programs. Capital national security, NS, is the dynamism of your economy, the productivity of your industry, the creativity of your ideas industry, the sense of fairness in your judicial system. You are here, you benefit from that larger case, but you're building that larger national security industry. Tell us how you think about your role on national security.
Number one, NVIDIA was birthed in the United States. We are a proud American company. We're inventive, we're vibrant, we're at the center of the single most important industrial revolution in human history. This is an industrial revolution in every single way as important as electricity. No. We are going to impact every single industry, every single company. Every country will build it. Every company will use it. We export American technology wherever the United States would like us to export the American technology. This is an extraordinary opportunity for us to make a substantial contribution to our national security. We also know that national security and economic security and economic prosperity go hand in hand. The wealthier our nation, the more we can fund the mightiest military on the planet. And I do believe that it is the case where, because of this new industrial revolution that we've started, we are creating new factories in America. We're creating new jobs in America. And somebody recently told me that we contributed more to economic growth singularly than just about any company in the world today to the American economy. And I believe that that's probably true. And the reason for that is NVIDIA is a multi-$100 billion company supporting multi-$100 billion companies going after trillion dollars of industry. And so the economic prosperity, the technology leadership, unquestionable. The economic prosperity that we can contribute to, unquestionable. Now the question then becomes, how do we think through the diffusion of, the export of, the proliferation of American technologies and standards? We should, of course, number one, safeguard our national security, the little n, little s, to ensure that adversaries don't have access to sensitive technology or advanced technology that we don't need them to have access to. We should, number two, ensure that American companies, American technology companies, through partnership with us, have the benefit of the best and first. But then after that, after number one and number two, we should also proliferate American technology standards, compete around the world, fuel this flywheel of funding our R&D so that we can continue to be the mightiest technology industry in the world, so that we can fund the mightiest military in the world. And all of that, I think, goes hand in hand.
Several times, Chairman Huang, you've talked about energy as being a pacing problem here. When we invented LED lighting, we just lost the demand signal, and half of our electricity grid is merchant supplier, and so they don't buy ahead of need. And so we're now really way behind. And you pointed out that China has built out twice the capacity of electricity than has the United States. How big a constraint do you see that as being for our build out for this revolution that you're trying to create?
Deeply serious. I think at this point, we have to use every form of energy we can. I believe we can't rely on the power grid. We got to build behind the meter. We obviously need power generation systems. There's no question we should try to encourage and try to accelerate nuclear. We need to have energy growth very, very shortly. In the meantime, we're advancing our technology so quickly. No company our scale has ever introduced new generations every year. And when I say we just ship a new chip every year, people, because there's so many gamers in the world and they've known me for so long, and when they think about what NVIDIA builds, they think it's a module that looks like a gaming graphics card, our GeForce graphics card, and they plug it into their PC. Well, a GPU for AI centers, AI data centers, that GPU weighs 2 tons. It has 1.5 million parts. It consumes 200,000 watts. It costs $3 million. Every so often somebody says, these GPUs are being smuggled. I really would love to see it. Not to mention, you have to smuggle enough of them to fill a football field full of these things so that you could run it as an AI data center. And so, anyhow, the technology that we make each year allows us to increase the performance at about the same power by many times. And let me just pick a number, say 5 times or 10 times each year. As a result, our energy efficiency improves by 5 times or 10 times each year. But the problem is this. We're at the beginning of this technology build-out. I'm improving the performance by a factor of 10 times each year, but demand is going up by a factor of 10,000, a million times each year. AI is getting more compute intensive, the adoption's going way up, I've got all these exponentials. And so we're going to keep chasing this. We're going to be completely dedicated to advancing the technology as fast as we can. But the bottom line is we need energy.
Yeah, and I forgive me for interjecting myself. I do think we have to overcome the NIMI constraints. We're going to have to find some structure of federal preemption so that we can overcome the barriers. That's my comment. That's not your comment. I don't want you to get in trouble for my saying that. Let me ask you. I mean, last year.
Thank you for that.
Last year, the world installed 2 million robots. Half of them were in China, which is really astounding when you think about it. Tell me how robots fit in with AI.
Let me just give you one example of why it's around the corner. These days you could describe in text, and you give it to a video AI, and it generates a video. You guys know this, right? It actually, from words, you can generate a video, okay? And let's say the video is Jensen reaches over, picks up a cup. So I take a picture of this screenshot, give it to the AI. That's the starting condition. And I say, now cause Jensen to reach over and pick up the cup. The AI creates pixel by pixel, token by token, my arm picking up the cup. And that everybody knows is possible today. You guys have seen it. Well, the AI can't tell the difference between it manipulating pixels versus its
Generally speaking, data centers are powered from the AC grid, and power is converted down to the low voltage DC levels needed to drive the digital logic gates in a processor. So let's walk through this grid to gate power conversion and see how the power delivery architectures have evolved over time.
Industrializing, reshoring, manufacturing, we now again also have significant demand for factory automation. And there's no question we have a shortage of labor. We have, right? We all know that our industries would be larger, more profitable, more vibrant if we just had more workers. And so they have the same challenge. They have worker shortage coming up, very severe worker shortage coming up. So they have a national strategic imperative to make sure that robotics happens, number one. Number two, they have the AI technology. And number three, this is where they have a big advantage. They're really very good at electronics and mechanical intersections, otherwise known as mechatronics. This entire area they have the harmony of demand and supply side capability. Now, many other countries, Japan has surely the demand side. They have the mechatronics, but Japan needs to have much better AI technology. Germany, great demand, extraordinary mechatronics. They need to have great AI technology. United States, if we reindustrialize our nation, we will have great demand. We have great software technology, but we really, at the moment, need to improve our mechanical electronics capability.
Yeah, I mean, using AI to find a better, vegan recipe for foie gras, maybe something my wife will look up, but we need to make this.
That would be a miracle indeed, sir.
It would be good. But we need to turn this into productive machinery.
That's
and
right.
the way in which it's going to change the landscape. Let me ask you, because we're running out of time. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a dean of a major research institute, and I asked him, I said, how is your faculty dealing with AI? And he said, well, the engineering faculty is excited. They really think this is fabulous. He said the science faculty is really curious, and they think it potentially opens up real opportunity. And the humanities faculty thinks it's the end of the world. So it is a shorthand for the anxiety that people feel about the dark side of AI. How do you talk to us about that?
Let me start from the end. There's no question that everyone's jobs, profession will be affected by AI. Because the tasks within our jobs are going to be dramatically enhanced by AI.
Yeah.
Some jobs will become obsolete. New jobs are going to be created, and every job will be changed. So I used two words just now, and it's really important we think about these two words very differently. One is task, the other one is job. Now, it turns out, I think it was something like 7-8 years ago, a very important AI scientist, maybe the most important AI scientist, declared the first application for AI will be radiology, because computer vision was the first breakthrough. And that, in fact, entire radiology industry within 5 years will be completely transformed by AI. And that in 5 years' time, radiologists will all lose their job. And he advises that no one should be a radiologist. That was his advice, and it was taken very seriously. Now, some 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, every single radiology platform has been completely transformed by AI. 100%. Every single radiology platform. The number of radiologists has increased. The question is why? And the reason for that is because, as it turns out, studying the scans, studying the images, is the task of a radiologist. The goal or the job of a radiologist is to diagnose disease. This is true for many, many people. People say, I don't need software engineers because apparently coding is going to be automated. I've given AIs to every one of my software engineers and hardware engineers and engineers, period. 100% of NVIDIA has AI assistants, AI coders. And they're busier than ever. And so the question is, what is the task versus what is the job? No different than a financial analyst. The task is mess around with spreadsheets. But the job is to make a financial advice. The job is to help a customer. The job is to analyze the market, make a prediction about market. And so there's still, the human factor is still quite significant. And I would just tell everyone, before you decide that that AI is something that you're worried about or scared about, go engage it, go use it. And even in the humanities, the fact of the matter is, with AI today, my writing has improved. I don't think the quality is. It still writes in my taste and my ways, but my speed of writing has dramatically improved.
Yeah. Well.
And so I'm more productive today. I'm still writing the original pieces. I still have to write the original voice. I still have to create the original thought. But every so often, as you know, when we derive other speeches out of other previous speeches, the concepts are very similar, but the content, the delivery, the context is so different. We now can use AI to help us regenerate the first draft. So for me, for the humanities, I would just say original thought, original writing, your taste, made with human hands, are still always going to be valuable.
I went in for an MRI recently. My wife said, make sure you take a picture. I don't think there's a brain up there, but I'd like to see it if you could prove there's something.
And what did you find out, sir?
There was nothing. I mean, she was right and I was wrong. We're coming to the end, and you're in Washington. You don't. This isn't always a joyful experience to come to Washington, but share with us what your thoughts on how we should think about this remarkable revolution that's appearing in your world. You're leading it. We're going to experience it. We're probably going to try to regulate it. We don't know how to do that. Tell us just a little bit how you think we should be anticipating this and thinking about our future.
There are many, of course, that we spoke about many different things that Washington has been extraordinarily helpful in already shaping the outcome for our nation. We spoke about industrial policies and how, in fact, a heavy-handed approach was necessary, and it was just in time. It is the case that Washington, D.C. is foreign to me, and I've had the benefit of coming here now since the first time I saw you, our first night, and it's unnatural to me. However, what I can tell you is we all want the same thing. We want America to win. We want America to be the greatest nation in the world. Mm-hmm. We have extraordinary capabilities. It's hard not to be romantic about this country. My parents had the American dream. My father always wanted us to grow up in the United States. He sent us here when I was 9. And they had almost nothing to start a life here, and somehow through that journey,
it worked out pretty good.
I'm here with the privilege of leading one of the most consequential companies in the history of humanity.
Yeah.
And you just can't write a better story than that.
Yeah.
You can't not be romantic about this country. I'm surrounded by extraordinary scientists. I'm surrounded by extraordinary people. All of our technology partners, the ecosystem that we have here. It is, I don't want to be complacent, but it is a miracle. There's no question about it. And I have the benefit of working with every nation in the world. And so I think we can say for certain that we want the same. We want the same outcome for this nation. It is important, however, that I come here so that I could at least explain what is AI. It's 5 layers. I can explain what is impact. How is it going to evolve? And how certain policies, although on appearance might achieve whatever objectives, that the long-term consequences, the unintended consequences, could be quite dire for the United States. And so I have the benefit of at least explaining it from the perspective of technology, and help advocate for technology leadership so that we could secure our national security. And so I have that benefit, and I'm deeply grateful that the people I get to meet here in Washington, D.C. has always had an open door. And although this is new for me and I'm clumsy at it, I can also say that I'm very grateful that Washington has been very open to me.
I know the answer to this question, but I still want to ask it. Are you optimistic about the future?
Oh, absolutely. 1,000%. 1,000%. The best of days are ahead of us. I don't have to work. I think I've done,
I think that's true.
and Ambassador Rudd, when he first met me, all my hair was black, and now if you were to take an image of my brain, it could turn out to be the same color as yours, and so, but nonetheless, this is the one decade I will not miss.
Yeah.
I simply won't miss this decade. I don't want to miss this next 2 decades. We are going to do more for the advancement of science. We're going to do more for the advancement of industry. We are going to do more for this nation in the next 2 decades than potentially all of it combined in the past.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to miss that. This is the best of times.
I totally share. I think this is going to be the most marvelous period in humanity, and we're looking forward to it. Would you all say thank you with your applause? Great to have you.